You ever wonder why we sometimes save our absolute worst behavior for the people we love the most? It's a really uncomfortable question, isn't it? But it's a strange and painful pattern that so many of us recognize. In this explainer, we're going to unpack the psychology behind why this happens.
I mean, really think about it for a second. That sharp tone, that irritable snap, that cold shoulder. Why is it so often aimed at your partner, your family, or your closest friends, while a total stranger at the coffee shop gets your patience and your politeness? It just feels completely backward. And frankly, it feels wrong. But as we're about to see, there are some really powerful psychological reasons for it.
And look, right off the bat, let's get this out of the way. If this whole thing sounds a little too familiar, it does not automatically mean you're a monster or that your relationship is doomed. Not at all. The answer is actually way more complex, and in a really strange way, it has everything to do with just how safe you feel with that person.
So let's start by framing this for what it is. It's a painful paradox that, believe it or not, plays out in our homes every single day. This right here is the heart of the issue. Out in the world, with colleagues, clients, strangers, we put on our public face. We're polite, we're patient, we can be charming. But the moment we walk through our own front door, that mask can just drop. And the person who gets the unfiltered, raw, and sometimes pretty mean version of us is the one we've chosen to build a life with. It's a jarring contrast.
So why? Why does this happen? Well, the first piece of this puzzle is a concept that sounds completely backwards. Let's call it the strange complement of meanness. And that brings us to something called the safety paradox. See, the outside world is conditional. If you're rude to your boss, you could get fired. If you snap at a customer, you could lose them. There are consequences. But in our most intimate relationships, there's this deep, often subconscious belief that our partner's love is unconditional. We trust, really trust, that they won't leave us. And so we see them as a safe container where we can finally let go of everything we've been holding in all day long. And this plays out in a daily cycle, right? Step 1, we go out and wear our public mask. We have to be good. Step 2, we absorb all the little frustrations, anxieties, and maybe even humiliations of the day. Then, step 3, we come home to our safe container, our person. And that's when step 4 happens. The mask comes off and we unload our unvarnished self, all the frustrations included. It's like a release valve. So, and here's the crucial part. As twisted as it sounds, this behavior actually comes from a place of trust. It is a very, very backhanded compliment that basically says, I believe our bond is so strong that you can handle the worst of me, the parts I would never ever show to anyone else. Now, it's not right, but it is rooted in a profound sense of security. But hold on, because that's only half the story. The trust explains where we feel safe enough to be mean, but it doesn't explain why we choose meanness as the way to let it all out. For that, we have to look a little deeper, into the patterns we all inherit. This is what some psychologists call inherited meanness. It's this idea that our go-to ways of handling tough emotions, anger, frustration, disappointment, they aren't things we just consciously invented. They're behaviors we learned that we picked up by watching the adults around us when we were kids. And let's be totally honest here, this is a pretty universal experience. I mean, how many of us were actually sat down and given a lesson in emotional regulation? We didn't get a manual on how to process anxiety or deal with feeling humiliated in a healthy, constructive way. So what do we do instead? It's simple. We repeat what we saw. If we saw a parent slam doors when they were mad, or use cutting sarcasm when they felt hurt, or give the silent treatment when they were overwhelmed, well, those patterns become our default programming. A lot of the time, we're just running software that we didn't even know was installed. Okay, so how do these two big ideas actually fit together? Well, understanding the safety paradox and inherited meanness doesn't excuse hurting someone, of course not, but it does explain it. And that understanding is what moves us from a place of guilt to a place of awareness. So let's put it all together. The safety paradox answers the why me, why here question. It's, I do this with you because deep down I trust you won't leave me. And inherited meanness answers the why this way question. I do it this way because it's the only way I ever learned how. One lets you release your raw, unvarnished self, and the other dictates that you'll do it by repeating old, unhealthy patterns. And yeah, together, they can create a pretty toxic dynamic. The goal here isn't to justify hurting the people we love, it's to understand the mechanics behind it so we can actually start to change them. Realizing that lashing out is a warped signal of trust and a learned behavior, well, that's our really powerful first step.
So the real question becomes, knowing all this, what new behaviors can you start to learn to show both your trust and your love?